Hi everyone, I'm Lefa, 23, female. So let me tell you about this wild day that went down in my life not too long ago. About 2 years back, I made the big move to the good old USA from Switzerland. My goal? To chase my dream of becoming a model in LA. You know, the land of opportunity and all that jazz. Fast forward to the day that changed everything for me. I found myself on set doing a photo shoot for a calendar company. Now here's where the plot thickens. Enter Earl, one of the photographers. Sparks started flying and we couldn't help but flirt up a storm. I swear to you, everyone in the room can tell you just how undeniable our chemistry actually was. As the day went on, we found ourselves getting some coffee together during breaks, sharing stories and laughing like we'd known each other forever. Earl had this charm, that easygoing attitude that was both refreshing and exciting for a Swiss girl like me. So after the photo shoot, Earl and I found ourselves, well, dating. Now, I'm not one to rush things, so I just went with the flow, seeing where this unexpected journey would take us. Surprisingly, everything was falling into place like dominoes. Earl was not only my romantic interest, but also a huge help in boosting my career. Life felt like a rom-com, and I was all in. To take things up a notch, I decided to bring Earl to Switzerland to meet my family. It was a big step, and I was convinced this was heading towards something serious. This was when we were about 6 months into the relationship. My family loved Earl. Honestly, maybe they loved him a bit too much. They were treating him like a king, and I couldn't be happier. Now it was my turn. We were going to meet his family, and that's where everything took a wild turn. I naively assumed his family would welcome me with open arms, just like mine did for him. Oh boy, was I wrong. Turns out Earl's family tree was down to one branch, his mom. And she, well, let's just say she bore a striking resemblance to Mrs. Trunchbull from Matilda, both in looks and her charming personality. I decided that I was going to bring some of my family's favorite rosti to butter her up. But when she answered the door on us, I had this sudden feeling that everything was going to go completely wrong. I could see the disapproval written all over Elise's face. I was thinking, is she allergic to Swiss people or something? She barely said hello before launching into questioning me about my background, my family, everything in between. Hell, she had barely invited us inside. Earl had to force us in there almost. Earl had warned me that his mom could be a bit much, but this was a whole new level. I tried to keep my cool, answering her questions with a smile, but inside I was growing more uneasy by the minute. The woman was strict, stern, and had a knack for making you feel like you were in a boot camp rather than a family dinner. Meeting her was like entering a whole new level of a relationship, one that I hadn't signed up for. So, Lefa, is it from Switzerland, huh? What brings you to our little corner of the world? Yes, it's Lefa. I moved here because I'm an aspiring model, and what better place to pursue that than LA? France, for example? Oh, well, yes, but I had heard so many amazing things about America growing up. I just had to come here. I met Earl during a photo shoot and things just took off from there. Well, I hope you've got more to offer than just a pretty face. Earl, don't you think you could do better? Mom, come on, let's not do this, please. I understand your concerns, Elise. Modeling is my passion, but I also have a degree in business studies, and I plan to explore various opportunities with that, especially with my modeling career. Oh, how impressive. A model with a backup plan. Earl, did you know about this? Mom, Lefa's ambitions are what attracted me to her. She's smart and driven. And what about family values, Lefa? What can you offer my son in terms of a real, stable home life? I believe that love and understanding are the foundations of any strong family. Earl and I are building something special, and I have no doubt we'll do a great job. Love and understanding. We'll see how long that pays the bills. Mom, stop. What matters is that we love each other. I appreciate your concern, Elise. I know relationships can be challenging, but I'm committed to making this work. I love your son with all my heart. We'll see, won't we? I just hope you're not wasting my son's time. I soon realized that getting her approval wasn't going to be a walk in the park. She had such huge expectations, and they were higher than the Swiss Alps. The more I tried to win her over, the more she seemed to find fault in everything I did. It was like she had a checklist and I was failing miserably. I thought that I could get back on her good side, thinking that our first meet-up was a fluke. So I told Earl that we had to meet up as much as possible so that she could start warming up to me. Earl agreed and told me that that sounded like a good idea, so he asked for another dinner party and Elise agreed. We all sat down for dinner, thinking everything would be fine, but boy, were we wrong. Elise really let loose this time. She started critiquing everything I did, what I wore, to my table manners, which were both perfect, by the way. She's just a hater. I felt like I was on a reality TV show and she was the judge tearing me apart for views and giggles. Earl was doing his best to diffuse this tension, but it seemed like every attempt he made only fueled the fire. Elise was relentless and I couldn't understand why she was so against me. After an excruciating dinner, Earl pulled me aside, apologizing for his mom's behavior. He told me that he loved me and didn't care about any of the nonsense Elise was going on about. He had told me that everything was going to work out just fine, but this didn't calm my nerves one bit. I was always good with my boyfriend's parents, so why were things so hard with this lady? I would complain about it every time Elise would say something mean about me in the family group chat. And one day, I guess Earl was tired of covering for his mom's crappy behavior, and he just let it all out. Earl, I don't understand. What did I do to your mom? Why does she seem to hate me so much? What's going on? I don't want to sound like a broken record, but she said something snarky on the group again. Oh God, what did she say? She said I looked quite large in my profile picture. Honestly, bold of her to say anything when she looks like that. Hey. Well, it's the truth. I'm sick of her treating me like crap. I haven't done anything but be kind to her. I just don't know what I did wrong. It's not you, Leffa, it's her. She's always been difficult, especially when it comes to women, particularly pretty, tall, blonde women just like you. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Well, I can say that she's always been a bit envious, I guess, of prettier women. Really? Why? Growing up, she felt overshadowed by her younger sister, who, I guess, was the poster child for all things beautiful. I mean, they put my Aunt Maud in all sorts of pageants, and my grandparents would always favor her over my mom. Yikes. Yeah, it wasn't good from what my uncle Damien told me. Maud and my mom had a rocky relationship because of all the comparing, and that resentment might have carried over, I guess. So she dislikes me because I'm tall and blonde, is that it? Partly. She sees you succeeding in the modeling world, and I think it brings back memories of all the crap she went through with her sister. It's like history repeating itself, I guess. I really didn't think that she would hate you because of that, but with the way things are going, I guess it's not completely crazy to believe that that might be the case. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Elise hated me because I was tall, pretty, and blonde? It seems so weird and unnatural. How can you hate someone because they're beautiful? After the initial shock and anger, I felt a bit of sympathy for her. I guess I was finally acknowledging my pretty privilege and all of the things it got me in life. Imagine going through life not feeling pretty enough or even at all, and being treated differently because of that. It was so stupid. And I hated that under all that anger was just a sad and insecure woman who needed a bit of tender loving care. So I decided to make things right. I told Earl that I would try even harder to meet up with her, and that this time we would do a lot of fun, girly things. I thought it would have been nice to heal her inner child just a bit by doing girly things like going to the spa or getting our nails done or shopping for shoes and bags, a little retail therapy. I've always felt prettiest when I gussy myself up, and so I thought she'd appreciate the gesture and get a chance at feeling beautiful. Despite my trying to reach out and tell her about the plans I've made for us, Elise remained unresponsive, leaving me on read and making any connection seem like pulling teeth. After about 3 months of trying, I decided to give up. I wasn't going to force a grown woman to be my friend. When I told Earl that I was trying and failing at being a good daughter-in-law, he completely understood, reminding me it wasn't my responsibility to boost her self-esteem. Earl noticed my disappointment, so he whisked me away on a staycation to this really bougie resort. The surprise continued when I entered our hotel room, and it was covered with rose petals and pink balloons. There, Earl dropped to one knee and proposed. Of course I said yes. I was so happy. Just when I thought that things were crumbling around me, my man was there to support me and to prove to me that despite his mother acting like a cow, he would stick beside me and love me forever. Our weekend getaway was magical, and I wished I could stay there forever. But unfortunately, we had to make our way back home when it was all over. When we returned home and announced our engagement, Elise's reaction was less than enthusiastic. She called Earl, telling him that there was still time to call off the engagement. "What on earth are you thinking? Have you lost your mind? Is she with you right now?" "Yes, Elise, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. I know you hate me, but I love your son and nothing is going to change. I'm done with trying to be kind to you. Come to the wedding if you want to. I don't care." "Oh, did you hear the way she was speaking to me? And you want to marry that? You better hear me, Earl. If you get married to her, Earl cut the call, not wanting to hear any more of her rambling. We spent the rest of the night choosing cake decorations for our wedding. A couple more months passed and Earl and I were gearing up for our big day. Wedding planning went smoothly thanks to the support from my modeling agency. They were thrilled to help us out with some decorations and catering. Honestly, without them, I wouldn't know if my wedding would have turned out as great as it did. Finally, the actual day had arrived and there was something magical in the air. Everyone and everything was in order, just how I liked it. I had always dreamt of this day, and I made it clear to everyone involved that I needed this day to be something to remember. Earl and I shared a moment behind a screen door. We were holding hands and closing our eyes and saying, I love yous, before we were meant to go out and get married. Despite my excitement, I couldn't ignore my scowling mother-in-law in the dressing room. She looked like she had eaten some lemons and didn't want to wash her mouth out. When Earl left to finish off getting ready, my bridesmaids and I, some fellow models, were having a great time. We had about 1 hour left till showtime, and that was when the other shoe dropped. Suddenly, Elise started screaming, ruining our happiness. "The ring! Where is it?" My heart sank when I saw her holding an empty ring box, the one meant for my beautiful pink wedding ring. Panic set in. I started hyperventilating, and my bridesmaids were trying to calm me down, but nothing was working. Elise then suggested that they go and look for the ring. They all immediately rushed out to go look for the ring, all the while telling me not to worry, but how could I not? They left me alone in the dressing room, desperately trying to calm my nerves. I was too panicked to notice that Elise was still in the room, and now she was smirking. "Oh dear, it seems your little pink ring has gone missing." "I'm not in the mood for your BS, Elise. My ring is missing on the one day it matters most, and we only have an hour till the ceremony. What if they don't find it?" "I hate to pour salt on your wound, sweetie, but let me assure you, they won't find it." "And why is that, Elise? So that you can sit and laugh at me?" "Precisely. That look on your face would be priceless. But you know what would really do for me? Seeing everybody's faces. Yeah, they'd be so disappointed, especially your little friends at your modeling gig." "Are you out of your mind? Why would you want that for me?" Because, my dear, you don't deserve happiness. I want everyone to think you're responsible for losing the ring, and they're going to think that when I tell them that you lost it. But I didn't lose it. It was right there in the box. The last person with the box it was you. I mean, how else do you think the ring got lost, Leffa? You're not very bright, are you? You're a real piece of shit, you know that? What did I ever do to you to deserve this? Where is my ring? You think you can just waltz into our lives and be the center of attention? I won't let that happen. Listen, Elise, I know everything, okay? Earl told me about your insecurities and how you hate being an ugly piece of crap because your sister was prettier than you or whatever. Excuse me? How dare you? But now is not the time for games. Give me my ring before things get ugly. I might be wearing this dress, but I know how to get dirty if I need to. It's too late, dear. The damage is done. Everyone will see you for the failure you are. Besides, no one will believe you if you say anything. If anything, you'll just look like the crazy bridezilla who lost her mind on her wedding day, and that's when Earl will come back to me. You're a horrible person. I can't believe you'd stoop so low just to make me miserable. Well, it's your fault, really. You never deserved to be part of this family. You think you're all high and mighty because you have good cheekbones. Well, guess what, sweetie? All of that posing and pouting is going to go to waste because you're just going to end up as a wrinkly old hag. Then, at that moment, Elise had thrown something at my head. I'm low-key glad she did, though, because if she hadn't, I wouldn't have turned my head and noticed the cameras that were blinking red in the corners of the room. Then I smiled, remembering that the venue we were holding the wedding at was notorious for being strict on security. All of their rooms were wired with cameras and mics recording information in case of any crimes happening on the property. This was just my luck. Why the hell are you smiling? Don't you realize, you idiot? Your day is ruined. Everyone is going to hate you for wasting our time. I'm not so sure about that, Elise. Why? Look around. It took her a couple of seconds, but when she finally noticed the cameras, I noticed the blood drain from her face. She looked like she had just seen a ghost, and I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't believe the nerve of Elise. The audacity to sabotage my wedding by stealing my ring. She started stuttering out some excuses, saying that it was all a joke and she was having a bit of fun before the wedding started. But even a 2-year-old could see just how stupid she was being, tried to lie to me like that. Without thinking, I bolted for the door. I searched for Earl and my bridesmaids, with Elise trailing behind me, trying to convince me not to do anything and promising to bring my ring back to me. She really thought that I would let it all go, but she had another thing coming. I finally found Earl by the fountain with some of my bridesmaids and my mom. I called out to them, and when Earl saw me, he turned around immediately. Babe, what the hell are you doing here? We're getting the ring situation sorted. Aren't you worried about the bad luck? Oh, don't worry, babe. I already found it. Earl turned around and I spilled the beans. I told him that Elise had stolen the ring. The shock on everyone's faces made Elise shrivel up even more, and the look on her face was priceless. Of course, that evil woman denied everything, but I wasn't about to let her get away with it. We needed to expose her, and I told everyone that we needed to head to the security room, telling them that the cameras would expose the real truth. She began to shake again, desperately telling us how it was all a joke, a prank even, but I told her to shut up. We all went to the security room to check the footage. Earl, Elise, my maid of honor, and my mom were there. Elise kept saying it was just a joke, but I wasn't buying it. I asked the guy running the security staff to check the footage from the bride's dressing room in the last hour. It didn't take long, and we all watched as Elise treated me like crap, yelling at me and basically trying to traumatize me on my wedding day. My mom, not great at English, started cursing at her in German and Romance. Elise stood there, caught in her lies, while the proof of her trying to ruin my day played out on the screens. Mom, how could you? Why would you do something like this? I can explain. Don't bother. We heard your explanation loud and clear. You're a sick and twisted person, and to think you did this because of what, exactly? I told you, babe, she's jealous of you. No, I want to hear it from your own mouth. What is your problem with me? It's because I wish I was you, okay? There, I said it. You're everything I'm not, and it breaks my heart. So you go around trying to ruin my life just because you're miserable? You're sick and pathetic, Elise. I don't even know how you raised Earl to be the kind and smart man he is, because you're clearly the opposite. You're the ugliest person I've ever seen, both inside and out. Now we're running behind schedule, and it's all because of you. Oh, baby, please listen to me. No, Mom, I'm done with this crap. For months now, I've been trying to tell you to let go of this bitter obsession, but clearly you don't want to listen. I'm pressing charges. What? You stole something very near and dear to me. That ring cost a fortune. I have it right here. It's in my pocket. I don't care. You still stole it. And if you hadn't been caught, you wouldn't have had any intention of returning it. So I'm going to press charges. Get out of my face. Earl pushed past his mom, not before grabbing my stolen ring that he snatched from her hands. He was on his way to the altar, surprising the guests, who had been waiting for things to get started for some time now. I didn't expect things to get crazier than they already had, but Earl started exposing his mother's actions to the seated guest. He told them how much he loved me and how he would choose me every time. The second-hand embarrassment I felt for Elise was too real. She looked like she wanted the ground to open up and swallow her whole. She ran up to Earl, trying to snatch the mic away, telling the guests not to listen to him, but it was too late. He was on a rant about how awful she really was. I've been so patient with you, Mom, but I've had enough. I don't want to see you here. Earl was about to ask security to escort her off the premises, and I stopped him. I had an important announcement to make. Everyone stopped dead in their tracks when they saw the bride making her way to the altar and getting the mic. They knew it was about to go down. I wanted everyone to know that I'd scored a modeling gig for Elise as a surprise present for her, thinking it might help with her insecurities. Call it a last-ditch attempt at getting in her good graces. I thought, hey, if she gets the gig she always wanted, maybe she'll stop hating me. I guess it's a shame we'll never know how you'd feel after the gig, because I'm about to call them and tell them that their model is going to be wearing an orange jumpsuit instead of Gucci and haute couture. Elise was screaming at this point, begging for empathy and forgiveness from anyone who would pay attention to her. But even people in the congregation were turning away and murmuring about how badly she was embarrassing herself. Eventually, she had to be escorted off, and Earl and I proceeded with the wedding. It was a bit shaky trying to get back on our feet after that disaster, but we were all low-key happy knowing that Elise was sobbing somewhere, waiting to be detained for theft. It all worked out in the end.